I don't like cult leader hero. But even though it was a dick move, I get why he was doing. He was like, "You're right. Your mom's not dead. We're gonna give her a call." Dude, it was rough. That was a rough scene.
Okay, but it started with him calling him Ned Flanders.
Yeah. And we are live with another episode of the Moon Knight After Show. This is episode 5 of the After Show. It's episode 5 of Moon Knight. We're talking about the episode 5 Moon Knight. It's the show brought to you by the Keeg, where we watch Moon Knight at midnight Pacific time, right when it drops. And then we have this show at 1 a.m. Pacific time when we finish it. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera.
Right when it drops.
Yeah, we start this show. We drop this show right when it drops. So you know how it goes. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera. We also got co-host Paul Lao. Paul, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up to all my drop heads from Gotham?
Did you rewatch it? Did you rewatch the Batman?
I hear people are not liking it the second viewing, so I'm just gonna keep.
No, I think those people are just contrarians. I watched it the second time. I watched it with my dad.
Okay, someone said they liked it the first time, but didn't like it the second time. So
I mean, they could think that way. I mean, that's fine. Again, that's personal opinion, of course.
You can be wrong.
I mean, they're right in their own way. And much like in Moon Knight, you know, what is reality? You know,
that's true.
Like maybe Mark Spector might not like the Batman, and Stephen Grant does, or the other way around. Who's to say? You know. Miss Marauder is out there. What's up to Miss Marauder? Miss Marauder says they're wrong. I've watched it 7 times. It's still just as good. 7 times. Miss Marauder, has your daughter watched it too? Is it age appropriate? I'm trying to think if like there's anything like really that bad.
It's just really dark.
I mean, it's intense. There's an intensity that's there. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. That's Batman. That's DC Comics. Let's talk Moon Knight and Marvel Comics. We got a guest. His name is Darth Choco. You may have seen him before on pretty much any after show that we've done. Was there one after show you haven't done?
I think I've been on all of them.
Okay.
I think I've been on all of them. I don't think we've done a Instagram live together, but I don't go on Instagram very much.
That's fair. You've been on a lot of these shows. Instagram live. I might have missed you. What's the saying? Miss me with that? That's a real thing, right? That's a real thing.
But that kind of makes like that would be me saying that,
right?
And it makes me sound like kind of a dick.
right. It's not a positive thing. But nah, you've been on all of them. You and Vagabondage, I think, have been on the most after shows because you guys started off on the WandaVision after show, and then now we're here. Plus,
you're in good company then.
Yeah, you were on the Boba Fett after show too, so cool. If we do a Mount Rushmore for the Keeg, you'll be on it. Don't worry.
Well, I
love it.
Yeah. Let's talk about this episode. We're dealing with episode 5 of Moon Knight, and without even saying anything, I just want to know real quick rankings of the 5 episodes. Could you guys do that without even talking about what went on in episode 5? You guys have a ranking?
Oh man. All right. So for me, real quick, I like my jam is introspection. My jam is people spending time in their mind and like figuring out why people tick, why they're certain ways. That's why I loved the Batman. That's why like Eternal Sunshine was like my favorite movie.
Yeah.
So this episode was that. It was all of that. So yeah, this would be my number 1 episode. It's not one that like truly represents the entire show. This is the turning point. But beautiful and incredible. I loved it.
You think for you episode 5 has been your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay, fair. What's been your least favorite, Brandon?
Least favorite?
I have to think back on like what was each episode, but yeah.
Yeah, it all starts to blend together. I'd say probably episode 2 would be around the weakest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
But like that's me saying it's the weakest, not that it's bad, you know.
Yeah. I think my favorite episode is episode 5, this episode, and I think my weakest is episode 2 as well. Now, what's in between 1, 3, and 4, that we have to figure out, but you know, maybe we could talk about it later. But Paul, what boat are you in?
Oh, thanks. You saw the background.
I
I'm
actually
fine.
was thinking about the boat in the show, but yes, the boat in your background is the boat in the show.
Yeah.
Ish.
I mean, it's really tough because this episode really, Oscar Isaac really just like acted his balls off. As far
Yeah.
as, like,
I said,
the
let's not
emotional-
talk about it. I just want your numbers, man. But yes, you're right. You're right.
I mean, okay, fine.
You're right.
He acted his balls off. That's all. That's pretty vague. We don't know what that means.
I mean, we're doing spoilers, obviously. I want your hard numbers.
Balls.
balls.
Balls acted your hard balls off.
Just
what?
Yeah, no, it's it really is tough. But yeah, this one's probably, it's just so much emotional weight.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then least favorite, because 1 sets it all up.
Yeah.
And I think they did a very good job with just like the switching between his DID.
Right.
It's just, it's tough. Because like I like that Layla gets introduced in 2, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got me too. Because like 4 had the horror element, which I was not expecting.
Yeah.
So freaky.
Yeah.
And they did it so well. I even watched it before.
Oh, okay.
Watched this episode. So it's in my mind. It's great.
Right.
So yeah.
That being said, I don't like, because again, I've talked about on last episode, is every show like this does every long running show will always do an episode where like the character wakes up from a coma and they're like, where am I? And they're like, oh yeah, everything's been made up this whole time. Like, or I've been in an asylum. Like they did it on Smallville. Supposedly they did it on Buffy. Like they just do that. And so I'm not a big fan of that trope, but I'm glad this episode was what it was.
I mean, for though like this, that concept, you know, it is straight ripped out of the Jeff Lemire run. So yeah, a lot of people do it. I think this did it well, and it didn't do it for cheap frills.
Yeah.
There was one thing that I kept expecting to come back, and it hasn't yet. The guy that was all painted in all gold that he would speak to.
He's in the asylum.
He's pulling the bingo balls.
He's the one pulling the bingo balls. Crowley.
Yeah, but I was expecting him to have a larger role. You know.
Oh, because he had a larger role in the comics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we haven't gotten Lockley, so
yeah.
Yeah. And are we going to?
You think
red sarcophagus standing up in the last episode?
That has to be him, right?
But then, like,
it has to be. But like, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It's just like now that we know the origin of Mark creating Steven, and the purpose, it's almost like, well, then how do you rationalize the third, identity?
And how has it not come up so far in the show?
A little bit. Like they've been hinting at, like, that wasn't you, that was me. Like,
right. Right.
The blood and
I think I mean my prediction is that Jake Lockley is Khonshu.
I've heard that theory.
That he chose Mark specifically because his mind was fractured, meaning that
he could hide in it,
take over his body completely, and rather than have an avatar actually be the avatar.
Are the gods able to do that? Because wouldn't they just do that then?
That is part of that Jeff Lemire run.
Okay,
I'm trying to do that. Khonshu is shady, man.
I haven't read the Jeff Lemire run. I've only read the current run. But Moon Knight's had a bunch of different like rando runs.
Yeah, that are wildly different from one another.
Right, because the run right now has Moon Knight without Khonshu. Khonshu's not there, so Moon Knight is he's operating as a vigilante. He's just really hardcore. Writer, it's Jed MacKay. Jed MacKay is the current writer of Moon Knight. Okay, yeah. Miss Marauder says the fact that they haven't introduced Jake Lockley at this point is insulting. She's low-key mad about it. In the comic, that's why he's put in the hospital. He was trying to essentially break him to take over his body. Oh, Khonshu was breaking him to take over his body. Okay. I mean, does this Khonshu seem more sympathetic though?
No.
No? Still a dick.
He's still a dick, but like
I guess a bit more.
Only because we know less from the MCU version.
Yeah.
It's by omission, not by virtue, I guess.
Right. Well, other than he turned, I thought the scene where he turns back the sky was almost a sacrifice in and of itself, right?
That's true.
Unless you buy it as it's a sacrifice just for show in order to get what he wants later.
Yeah, that's how I figured it.
Not that it's so much for show. I kind of took it as our interests are aligned currently in this singular moment. Like that's why I love Dr. Doom so much. Is sometimes he'll help you, sometimes he won't. Sometimes other villains are like, hey, let's go get the heroes, and he's like, you come to me with the stinking carcass of your failure, like get the hell out of here.
Yeah, but like 616 Dr. Doom doesn't sacrifice himself. Like he doesn't. The only time I ever saw Doom sacrifice himself was Ultimate Doom. Do you guys remember when the Ultimate Fantastic Four fought? They went to the zombie universe. Do you guys know what? Do you guys ever read that one?
I typically don't read zombie stuff.
That's fair. That's where Marvel Zombies comes from, essentially.
Yeah. Okay, but Infamous Iron Man, he did, as well as
because he was good.
I mean, the reason God King Doom ended, he's like, yeah, Reed, you would be better at this. Sorry.
Yeah, but
was he missing?
I think the only time he sacrificed himself, he seals off the portal into the zombie, and then all the zombies come at him, and he does his last stand or whatever. I thought that was cool.
It's always a Doombot. Never trust what you see.
It's always a Doombot. Always a Doombot, never a Doom.
It's the Naruto move.
It's always a log. God damn it.
Son of a bitch.
Let's talk about the way this show starts. Literally the first 15 seconds is of this flooding cave. We don't get an idea of what's going on, and then we see it go. We see a flash of them screaming at Taweret, and then back to Dr. Hera.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because that's trying to screw with the audience,
right? What is real? What is not? Is this confusing? Is it too confusing? Is it? Or should do we just write it off as oh, it's just part of the experience. Nothing's really real. So why are we here?
I think the big giveaway is, they don't have laces in their shoes, but he always has pyramid-shaped, sharp glass baubles on his desk, where a person with violent tendencies could just hurt themselves or other people. Nah.
Okay.
And then all the it's way too. I mean, I've said this before, but not in this context. But yeah, it's way too white. The Office, how everything looks, just it's just too.
I was about to say this is the least white of a lot of most Marvel properties.
This is that in a different way.
Yeah, I meant in this specific context.
In the specific color theory context. Yes.
Also, definitely confirmed to keep his Jewish heritage in this.
Well, I mean, you can't get. I mean, I was about to say you can't get more Jewish. I mean, you can definitely, but you can't get more obvious about his heritage than they mention the Shiva. They mention, or they have the yarmulkes. We see that when his brother dies. Mm-hmm. How did you guys feel about the brother dying and the whole reason for fracturing into Mark or Steven?
I'll let the guests handle it if you want.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was like, I went first last. Okay.
Oh
no, that was it was really fascinating. Like I've done a lot of extensive research on DID. When years ago when I was living in Portland, I had a friend who well a glorified acquaintance, really. We never got that close, but she had it. And I don't know, just the thought interests me. And it's something, I mean, that's typically how it manifests. There's some form of trauma, typically when the person's very young, and that's when they have to do it. So it's like we needed something back then where it was understandable on as understandable as it can be on both sides. I thought it worked really well. Especially because you can't just make it happen later in life. Also I'm part of the Star Wars fandom, so a lot of people try to claim DID for Darth Vader, which is just not true at all. And so like it's cool to see them actually honor this very serious thing. It's a lot more common than people give it credit for.
Do you feel, and this is I really want to kind of pinpoint something because obviously you go by Darth Choco, you're a big Star Wars guy. That Darth Vader is not DID. It's more like, I don't want to say alcoholism or substance abuse, where you say it's not you. Okay, my only experience is alcohol, like personally. So, but where people drink too much and they say, and they do something and they're like, it wasn't me. That's only when I drink. Or like an apologetic, trigger warning here, an apologetic domestic abuser, right? Where it wasn't me. I love you. That is a different person. But that's like Anakin, right? But it's not Mark.
Oh, isn't it just his mom? Like it all comes down to Shmi, and then his relationship with Padme, and then it just tumbles into this like kind of Oedipal, and he loses his mom. The Jedi really don't try that hard.
Ooh, you're going the Oedipus route?
Well, I mean, he doesn't have a strong mother figure after, and like she's just basically left for dead.
Right. We can only free one slave. We can't free two. Goodbye.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, some time passes. That's what I feel is the catalyst, and then for him to have that kind of like maternal attachment to Padme.
I'm just saying that,
like, one of the things I always wonder about it, because like I hear the argument of like the Jedi getting too political in nature, but there are certain things like the slavery issue back then that would require them to get heavily involved in politics in order to make actual changes to. I'm with you. Or you can't just,
because that was Outer Rim territories, right? They can't fight against the Hutts. They can't take down the Hutts.
They cause crazy international incidents, and like I don't know. So I kind of go back and forth on it, but like when it comes down to Anakin, it's I don't see how anyone but Palpatine gets the blame. Like we all know Anakin fell because Palpatine was like, I will show you how to save her, and he was lying. Like he didn't.
Yeah. Palpatine groomed him.
Yeah.
Palpatine groomed him. Palpatine. But
you're right.
But I do feel the blame is Anakin, and I don't like when people say Anakin is different than Darth Vader. Anakin is not the same person as Darth Vader. They are the same people.
For me, it comes down to you made a bad choice, and we visit him in A New Hope 20 years later after you've made this bad choice. Like, I am a different person than I was when I was 17. And had I not gotten married, I would be a different person like now. Like, that's a fork in the road. Right. That's not a different, like I can say I was a different person back then, or I would have been a different person had I taken this path, but it's still all me and still all my decisions.
Right. So you're saying that Paul and I are less of people because we're not married. Is that what you're getting at, Brandon?
I'm saying that when they put your heart on the scale, it would do that because it's incomplete.
It's incomplete.
You're not wrong.
You're You're turning this into a romantic thing. It's like, okay,
every comedian
hugs.
Definitely would be being pulled down that sand, pants down, just ass up in the sand.
I don't know where we're going with this.
I don't know. No, it's just the emptiness and hollowness.
That's why we are. I mean,
trying to be entertainers.
If you're in entertainment, if you're a comedian, then you're missing something.
It's heartache. Got to fill the hole somehow.
You're missing something. Okay, so Miss Marauder says she didn't like the split, or I'm not exactly what exactly she says she didn't like. Maybe the take on the split. I'll let her explain it. Jaden Paz out there on YouTube. What's up to Jaden out there? Jaden, give us a follow if you want. You don't have to, but we're on social media at The Keeg Show on like everything. Will Steven return?
He's got to.
I mean, yeah, he's got to, right? Especially because we all like Steven better than Mark, right? Like Mark gets the shit done, but Steven has the heart, right?
Yeah. But Mark is he made the sacrifice. He's like, no, Steven, I'm protecting you from being hit as a kid by your mom. Like he's trying to,
but he created Steven to protect himself.
Keep in mind, it's the name of his, deceased brother. He feels immensely guilty about, right?
No. Roland is his brother.
Oh, Roland was his brother's name.
Sorry,
that's
Randall.
Why we take
Randall,
okay,
aka Roro, is his brother who died. Stephen Grant is Tombbuster.
Yes, Tombbuster, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes, Randall is his brother. So he created Steven as a way to distance himself from the trauma that he faces from his mother, right? So that's why Steven has a good relationship with his British mother. Like his mother is British and lives in England.
And never answers.
Or he thinks he answered. I'm not quite sure if he.
He's always leaving her voicemails. That's what. Yeah.
But in that one scene, in the flashback scene, when he switches over at her, like outside her place in Milwaukee, he answers the phone. Does he talk to her? Does she talk back? Or does he think she's talking back?
He does act like she's responding. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Miss Marauder says, and I get this, I feel like my dislike for it can be summed up as I'm a mom. Yes. Hard shit as far as the mother to child problem. Also, I almost we were talking about Oscar Isaac's acting in this whole damn episode. I literally wrote OI's acting GD, which is Oscar Isaac's acting. God damn. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, when he says something, what does he say? Well, that's later. I don't know. I don't know what I wrote. I'll figure it out.
I'm just always impressed by people who are able to just be multiple people in the same scene talking to themselves, and you believe it. You feel that they're different people. You know what I mean? You can look at them and tell them apart, even without them wearing like different clothes. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, it's the embodiment of a character, like acting. Like your physical posture and your twitches and tics. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, it is his profession, but he does it well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there are people who are really good, like grocery baggers, and certain ones who aren't. Like, there are a lot of actors, yes.
Oh no.
Creme de la creme,
Yes, you're right. I gotta stop doing that.
Not all actors.
It's always amazing when someone's talented.
Right.
Like when people are like, "Oh, you're stand-up. Oh, so you work at it. So it's not special." Like there are people that eat shit every day on that stage.
Right.
It's always amazing when you capture lightning in a bottle.
Miss Marauder.
No, that's true. I was kind of thinking of like I don't know. The movie Face Off was bad.
Right. I used to quote that. It's like I know him as much as myself. I have to become him.
Oh, Paul, you didn't see the movie with Matt and I when we saw Immense Talent, or
I heard it was amazing.
Massive Talent. Yeah, and it was good. Pedro Pascal is the best part of that movie. That's a separate thing.
Tatiana Maslany in Orphan Black, though, you know, when she is like 8 people, and one time you can tell that she is one clone pretending to be another clone. Like, I know that's pretty cool.
Yeah, which is funny because Tatiana Maslany has to come to the MCU to not play multiple personalities. Oscar Isaac comes to the MCU to play multiple personalities. I think it's kind of funny. Yeah. Especially with someone like She-Hulk, who is the same personality as
in
Jennifer
forms,
Walters in both forms. Yeah. Miss Marauder says the scene where Steven admits his mom is dead had me in tears. The acting was phenomenal. Yes. Dude, Dr. Harrow, I mean, I get why he did. I like this version of Harrow. I like Dr. Harrow. I don't like cult leader Harrow. But even though it was a dick move, I get why he was doing it. He was like, you're right. Your mom's not dead. We're going to give her a call. Dude, it was rough. That was a rough scene.
Okay, but it started with him calling him Ned Flanders.
Yeah.
I love that.
I wrote that down. Well, it starts off with him throwing water in his face. Then he says your little silly tash, which I didn't even know was slang. Is that made up British slang or is that British slang? It sounds made up, but little silly tash and then Ned Flanders. But yeah.
Well, he looks at the his diploma too.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on the up and up.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom is dead. That was good. Let's talk about Taweret, the hippo.
Hippopotamus.
I went down a deep dive after last episode. Do you know what I went on a deep dive down?
Hippopotamuses?
Yes, but specifically
hippopotamisters?
Specifically, anyone want to guess? Madagascar.
Oh.
We just looked up clips of Madagascar because the hippo.
It's like, I'm doing research.
I'm doing research.
A few days later.
I was like, I have watched so much of Madagascar right now. I've seen the first 2 movies, but I'm just saying that Gloria the hippo, you know. By the way, I forgot that Jada Pinkett Smith voices Gloria the hippo, and then Chris Rock voices the zebra. I just thought it was funny. Interesting.
You keep her motherfucking name.
Gloria, you keep my hippo's name out of your motherfucking mouth. Exotic Sounds is out there. What's up to Exotic Sounds? It's been a while since Exotic Sounds has been here, right? I forget when the last time Exotic Sounds was here. I actually like the cult leader Harrow. He's eerily calm and soothing. His voice is extremely foreboding. I like the cult leader Harrow, but I legitimately like Dr. Harrow. I feel like he's nice.
It's that Chicago kindness.
Is it a Chicago voice?
No, it's just they're in Chicago.
Oh,
so
Milwaukee. Well, where's the asylum? Where's the asylum supposed to be?
I think in Chicago. That's what he said. Didn't you write notes?
I didn't write Chicago, but I know that Mark is from Milwaukee.
Well, that's only like a couple hours away.
Is it? I mean, you know that area better than I do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know that Happy Days takes place in Milwaukee. That's all I know. And Family Matters takes place in Chicago.
And that 70s show is also in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Hanging out.
It's on the license plate. Down the street.
Doesn't he say, like, thank you, Wisconsin?
Yeah, thank you, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Milwaukee. Okay.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
You're right.
Is Milwaukee not?
No. Because I was also thinking about the Drew Carey show.
That's Ohio.
That's Cleveland.
Ohio. Yeah.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
All right.
This was weird. Okay.
Fun fact: hippopotamuses don't really swim. They just run along the bottom of the thing and then jump.
They jump. Yeah. I saw that recently too. I told my dad about that. Ms. Marauder says, "Yeah, my tough love therapist I love my tough love therapist, so I like Dr. Harrow too. Yeah, Dr. Harrow's like a tough love therapist, but the problem is he's not real. You know? This version of Harrow's not real.
Also, those sandals. Just knowing that maybe both of them have glass in them.
I don't think the doctor would have glass in them.
Maybe.
Right?
Who knows?
He's still a cult leader in the asylum.
Yeah.
Like that part didn't change. He's still just like, yeah, no, I'm still running a cult.
The doctor version has Legos in his.
Oh, right. Oh wow, he is a really glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Tarret seems really nice, and I like how they go into the fact that like my favorite part of this stuff was the Egyptian underworld stuff. And it was Tarret and talking about like that she's guiding the ship to the field of reeds. She's weighing the hearts. And if the hearts don't weigh, then the guys come out of the sand, right. Just the normal nightmare fodder.
Yeah, I liked how she said that she hadn't done it in a while, meaning that people have not been worshiping the Egyptian gods, going to this particular afterlife. And then she has to pull out a papyrus like script and then welcome them.
I think it could be that. I also think it could be because of Anubis is in a
jar.
In the frozen form. The Anubis is on the rack where Khonshu is.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them on the rack.
Yes, but Anubis is the one who weighs the heart against the feather.
Oh, okay.
And that's why the scale itself is Anubis.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it feels because these gods have been taken off the board, Tarret is also balancing the heart and the feather. And that's why she's inexperienced.
Yeah, I mean, Anubis is the one that typically ferries them across. Yeah.
Okay. Miss Marauder says, I feel like they forgot there was an outside plot happening. So they forgot that they just had to add in the, oh no, the souls are being judged before their time. Like that whole thing. When they're kind of like firing down into the sand.
Yeah, Harrow's doing stuff in the real world.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I get that. I don't know how they could do both in the same episode. Like cut to his wife. What's her name? Layla. Running around up there trying to do stuff and see. Like, I mean, I can't wait to see what is actually happening up there.
Yeah,
but I get that. There's we have to show that something else is happening. But I thought it did add the right amount of tension, though.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna appear and it's gonna be radically different. It's not gonna be right from when he got shot. I feel like it's gonna be Amit is out.
Well, yes, feel that way. Final episode, then I guess so.
But it'll start with Amit being out and having sent souls down already. Maybe Amit's already on a rampage.
What's Amit's goal? Just to be back?
To cleanse all the people who, to cleanse all the people, like,
because like Moon Knight
Minority Report.
Yeah. Because we talked about both vengeances, like how one is like instantaneous and then Minority Report version is Amit. But I don't know. Like, it's weird because I don't feel like we've met Amit. We've only met Harrow, who's not exactly the avatar of Amit yet.
Is he not? I think he. Oh no, he's not the. He's not the voice, right? He's not the voice of Amit.
And then he uses I don't know. I've been watching a lot of TikToks and YouTubes.
Yeah.
So yeah, the conspiracy about him having like the staff and how it channels purple energy, much like the Doctor Strange. They have those relics, and so his relic might be just another sorcerer trying to do some naughty magic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Naughty magic. I like it.
Naughty, Aleister Crowley. Naughty. All right.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I don't know what to expect for the final episode. There's only one episode left.
Does she have Project Insight Hell Carriers?
we can't afford to wait that long.
Oh,
yeah, I love that.
I mean, they're probably gonna have to. I mean, do we have thoughts about like where it's gonna go? Are they gonna break Khonshu out? Steven got pulled overboard. Steven's frozen. I personally thought Mark would be the one frozen, and then Steven would have to win the day at the end.
Well, that was the that's go for it.
I was just gonna say, whatever they end up doing, it's gonna end up reversing what was done, meaning all of those spirits or lives, whatever, are gonna be shot back up.
Who? All the one that Harrow had already taken?
Probably in like whatever big like cataclysm he's currently doing. I think of it like a pain plot on Naruto. That he's just gonna like everyone's back, and which is going to free Steven. But since Steven is not an actual separate person, we'll get his consciousness back, and then we'll finally get Mark embracing the chaos.
You think that they're gonna get rid of Steven, or that Mark and Steven will live kind of together in his own head nicely?
I think they'll come back. I think he'll come back.
What's up with the sarcophagus? What are we doing with Lockley, or what we assume is Lockley? Is he coming out?
With one episode left, I don't know how. I don't know how they do it. I think that maybe they do it as a tease for next season or something. I don't know.
The 2 hearts, though, is kind of interesting that, you know, Steven even has a heart to pull from.
Yeah.
So,
also,
he does explain it, though. So.
It makes me think of that song. You know what song I was thinking about? 2 of hearts, 2 hearts that beat as one. 2 of hearts. I need you. I need you. I think those are the words.
Yeah, that's not the one it made me think of. But
is it just me? I don't know. All right.
I was thinking just the 2 of us.
Well, okay, that
we can make it if we try. Just the 2 of us.
You and I.
Is that Khonshu? Is that Khonshu popping in?
Just the 2 of us.
Yeah. You think Khonshu can sing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So the voice of Khonshu is also on the show Mythic Quest. I don't know if you've seen that show. It's one of the like Apple exclusive shows.
Yeah. I want to watch it.
It's really good, but there's like a game writer, and that's the voice of Khonshu, and that's like how Khonshu talks. That's just how that guy talks, just like an octave higher. But I would be shocked if he couldn't sing. I would like to listen to
that. Miss Marauder. Okay, so Miss Marauder says she's mad that the scales balanced him by losing Steven rather than him embracing Steven and it balances. That Agreed. Part was confusing to me because Mark has blood on his hands, right? So why would his scale balance if Steven was gone? I thought that Steven was the one leveling him out.
I thought it was manufactured, and I thought he was like resolving that whole issue with him shielding Steven.
But
and then ultimately,
who committed all those murders? Mark, right? So why would Mark balance okay?
Well, it's like his kills were
in the service of Khonshu.
Yeah, because didn't he say they were all crooks and really bad people, and they had to be? So it was all in the name of vengeance. So for him, he was essentially revenge is a balance of scales, eye for an eye, and all that.
You think the Egyptian scales? I mean, there's 2 thoughts that you're kind of bringing up. One is that his murders were justified, thus not polluting his heart. And then the second one that I was thinking is, if he's doing it at the will of Khonshu, then he's kind of absolved of that. Anything that Khonshu.
Yeah, I thought of it as he is balancing other people's scales, right? That's kind of how I took it. Okay. But it is weird that it took. I was under the impression that they were going to find Jake, and then the 3 of them would balance the scales.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, that there was something missing, and that's the 3rd of them.
But Yeah, I mean, I think it was really dope when we get to see Khonshu's origin with Mark, and he's just like, you must protect those travelers of the night.
Yeah.
Or whatever he said.
Yeah. What are travelers of the night?
Under the moon's watch. Anyone walking in the, after hours, where I'm assuming the moon god watches over, every terrestrial being.
Yeah, because there's, marauders, not different from Miss Marauder, but yeah, that was just my assumption.
I thought X-Men immediately. I was like, oh no, they took Angel's wings. Yeah.
Those Marauders. Keep in mind that X-Men has taken the name of Marauders back from the bad guys.
Oh, that's right. It's now Kitty, right?
It's Kitty and her team. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
Exotic
love Shadowcat.
Exotic Sound says, yeah, I thought they were going to open the sarcophagus and there was going to be a third personality to them. I don't know how they're going to fit everything that we think is going to happen into one final episode.
Are they going to nail the landing? That's really my big question, because I feel like all of the finales have been, and maybe it's just myself having built things up too much in my own head over the course of the series. But I feel like none of them have truly stuck the landing. I think Loki was the best for me.
I was about to say that.
I think Loki's finale scratched the itch that I wanted. I was like, yeah, introducing Kang. Yeah. Was that what you're gonna say, Paul?
Yeah. No, you're right.
But WandaVision, I mean, I was fine with WandaVision's ending. I thought, like, when Vision defeats White Vision by talking to him.
Use your words.
Right?
Hawkeye is a downer. Well, it was because they freaking pulled away like a bunch of cowards when Fisk got shot in the face.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then
I don't even know how
Winter Soldier was kind of a cop out. I think the USA agent part and the whatever terrorist group part was kind of a cop out. Although it was cool to see Sam as Cap, the finale of Falcon Winter Soldier was kind of not my favorite. Also, Sharon's the power broker. Like, come on.
Well, that I actually did like, but
okay.
they were hitting on some of these deeper topics, but like they couldn't fully go in there. And I feel like they got afraid. We also got the name drop of Bushman.
Mm-hmm. Yes, commanding officer Bushman, who's Moon Knight's one big enemy.
Yeah, he's a big enemy. Big, he is the marauder that's out at night in the sands. So, like, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Are they not going to do another season on this? It's kind of weird, right? That it's a 6-episode event. They're not calling it a season. They're just saying it's a 6-episode event.
It's very cinematic. Like, that's the thing. This show is really well made.
I'm just used to Daredevil. And this is closer to Daredevil than it has, that other Marvel shows have been.
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
Just in tone and theme, in the hard-hitting shit. Like, I feel like this is like a Netflix MCU show. Except, obviously, they could have more blood. Yes, of course.
Yeah, the production's crazy on this.
Yeah.
Because, like, when they had, like, ninjas, like, slow-mo fire, like, that's the extent of Daredevil. I don't know. And then they do both deal with their religions, respectively.
Yeah.
Catholicism with Matt and
Judaism with Mark.
I think we need a second season, because while this is a great origin for Moon Knight to be in the MCU, we're not actually getting Moon Knight content. Like we're not getting Moon Knight as a vigilante doing stuff in the city. You know what I mean? Like, and I think we need that.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable if this ended on episode 6. If it ended nicely and neatly with everything that we wanted, it ended on episode 6, and then he gets to join the Midnight Suns. If it was a complete origin story in 6 episodes, I would accept it to be like, that's one movie. and then he goes to the Midnight Suns or supernatural team up of some sort. That being said, it just doesn't seem like 6 episodes is going to wrap everything up.
Yeah, and if they introduce Gore the God Butcher in some, like, as a mention or something,
right,
it would piss me off.
It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time till like Gore the God Butcher comes after the Egyptian gods. Why wouldn't he? Thor comes out in like 2 months.
Sure.
Like, how are they just introduced the Egyptian gods? How are they not going to have Gore kill some of them?
Are we? This is hopeful thinking, wishful thinking. But what if that little piece of symbiote that was left behind gets picked up by Gore?
And then we get Null.
No, not Null,
Okay.
but we get him using the All Black.
Oh, right.
The All Black Necro Sword. Man, what do you guys think of the designs for the Hellfire convention?
Hellfire Gala?
Yeah.
For X-Men?
For anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I
Doctor Doom's looking real drippy in that.
I like it because last year when they had the Hellfire Gala, the Avengers showed up in their work uniforms like a bunch of idiots. You know?
Is it called the convention for this new one?
No, it's Hellfire Gala.
No, it's a gala. I just couldn't think of
yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the original gala?
Or they're doing one in the comics right now.
Oh, okay.
And so we're seeing what these people are arriving in, and I just like Dr. Doom just looks amazing in my opinion.
Was there any final thoughts on this episode?
I mean, for me, the final thoughts are I've loved the show. I've loved the tone. This feels very different than any of the other ones that came before it, right? This doesn't feel like Falcon Winter Soldier or you know, and I love that we're getting that variance of content. I want more. I want more Moon Knight, and I want to see him as the vigilante Moon Knight. You know,
right?
A lot of the comics, at least, and I'm not caught up at all, but everything I've read, none of it like delves as deep into this type of Indiana Jones style. And so it's cool that we're getting that, but I also want to see Moon Knight doing Moon Knight stuff,
street level Moon Knight.
Yeah, I want street level Moon Knight, mostly because I don't like the Moon Knight that has to deal with Khonshu. Again, I've never been a real big Moon Knight fan, and I am a fan of the current run, and the current run doesn't have Khonshu, and it's Moon Knight putting together a squad of kind of gray characters that are given a second chance. I like that. I like where the comic is going right now. And so I personally, I don't have an affinity for Khonshu. And the biggest Khonshu storyline that I've read is when Khonshu tries to take over the world through Moon Knight to fight the Avengers in the Avengers run that happened like a year or two ago. So, Khonshu isn't exactly one of my heroes in the comics.
Well, he's not supposed to be.
I know.
Yeah, I think though it's like self-contained as far as MCU goes, which a lot of people, I think that's what their problem is with superhero fatigue, is that since everything's connected, they have to be like, well, great, I'm going to go somewhere, everyone's going to snicker and laugh, and I'm not going to know what's going on. And with Moon Knight, you go in kind of fresh. You don't have to know anything. You don't even have to know when the blip was.
Right.
Because they don't really mention that.
Because it's not the point. Yeah.
Yeah. And like that type of focus is really kind of refreshing, as opposed to What If, where you have to know. You have to fine tooth comb the original Avengers, all the Whedon stuff. Like, yeah, right. It sucks.
Right. I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this episode. Obviously, thank you to Paul for being my co-host throughout this. We got one more episode of this Moon Knight after show, but Paul's been my Marvel show co-host since WandaVision. So thanks Paul for being a part of that. Paul, where can we find you? What do you got coming up?
I don't know. Maybe I'll be leaving Twitter. Not that I had a huge presence, but
Are we doing that? Is that a thing that we're thinking about doing?
I mean, look, I like freedom of speech too, but It's Elon. Anyways,
I don't trust him. He's just a dumb Lex Luthor. I don't think he's that smart. I really don't. I don't think he's smart.
No,
I don't think he's Lex Luthor.
No, he wants to be Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he has the money and the resources to throw at things until they move.
Right. I think Elon Musk wants to be Iron Man, but he's more like Lex Luthor. I think that Trump wants to be Lex Luthor, but he's more like the Penguin or Humpty Dumpty or something.
Like, I'm trying to think of like the loser, like Richie Rich's nemesis, or there was like Scrooge McDuck's nemesis was Goldblum.
No, it was a Scottish guy, right?
Yeah,
it's like I forget his nemesis.
But even
yes.
he was like, he would recognize that a non-profiting platform like Twitter, even though it's powerful, $44 billion with the B.
Flintheart Glomgold.
Flintheart Glomgold.
Yeah.
Flintheart Glomgold.
He's a South African. He's actually not Scottish. He's South African.
Oh,
much like Elon Musk.
Oh my gosh, they called it. Did he have an emerald mine?
I mean, I don't probably, but yeah, Elon Musk is a child of a gem baron. During apartheid levels era South Africa.
Yeah,
that's totally above board and legitimate.
Hey, he's a self-made man,
right? With gems in his pocket. Yeah.
Listen,
blood diamonds.
Oh, sorry. Is this going to reflect bad on any of your Elon Musk bros?
No. I just always laugh at this self-made. Honestly, myth.
Yeah.
You were like, yeah, I did it all by myself, with the resources of my rich family.
Right.
Resources, right. Connections,
right,
opportunities, etc. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's a part of privilege. You know, This is getting into a whole different show, but
yeah, I have nothing going on. Don't worry. You can find me at Paul Lao Jokes on Twitter and Mr. Plow on all other platforms.
As long as you're on Twitter. Yes.
Yeah.
Darth Choco, where can we find you?
Yeah, so I'm Darth Choco on TikTok, Darth Choco on YouTube, Darth Choco 7 on Twitter, and Darth.Choco on Instagram. But yeah, I talk Star Wars mostly, but I do love talking Marvel and DC. I just need to do it more. Young Justice is the best thing coming out of DC.
Dude, it's so good.
Oh, they wrapped up Razor's story? Like,
I know.
What?
That was crazy. That was crazy. I was like, crazy. That's part of it. Because everybody was always like, okay, this looks kind of Bruce Timmy. It's part of that Tim verse. But no, it's part of the Young Justice verse, the Green Lantern animated series.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, like, obviously they very much love the Bruce Timm verse in Young Justice, but they're recontextualizing things and just making amazing. So yeah, I need to talk more about that. Plus we got this cool Marvel stuff coming out. Super excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. That's my most anticipated Marvel thing coming out.
Generally speaking, between the three of us, are we looking more forward to Multiverse of Madness or Thor: Love and Thunder?
Thor for me.
Yeah, Thor for me. Paul?
I'm actually, and yeah, Multiverse. I think it's going to be more so.
I'm afraid. I hope they don't shit the bed on Multiverse of Madness. I'm afraid what people are talking about. Like, there's some dumb takes out there. I just hope that those takes aren't real.
Okay.
I feel like we're all thinking about the same person right now. Anyways,
we could. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm thinking about the same person, or a person in particular.
I don't watch that person's channel if we're talking about the same person. So say hi to hell for me.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. For anyone out there who was watching live stream, we live stream on YouTube, on Twitch, and our #1 live stream platform, volume.com. Check us out there for live shows throughout the week. We do multiple different shows, whether it's Moon Knight After Show, whether it's Comic Talk, whether it's the Keeg Back, whether it's the Keeg Talks. We do a lot of stuff. And then check out our Patreon if you want to figure out a way to give back to The Keeg. And if you want to listen to our podcast, look up The Keeg or The Keeg Show, either or, on wherever you get your podcasts from. It'll pop up, and you can do that. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And then if you want to find us on TikTok and Instagram and any other social media platform, at The Keeg Show. We got a lot planned, including some cool stuff for Star Wars Celebration, as well as I'm personally working on some videos that should be coming out soon based off of WonderCon that just happened. So stay tuned, and we'll keep you guys informed. Thank you, Paul, always for being my co-host. And thank you, Brandon, so much for coming on this episode and talking with me about episode 5 of Moon Knight. Either way, once again, I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been episode 5 of the Moon Knight Aftershow. Take care.
Super strong or super fast. Gotta beat the boss and get the loot. Cause it's the king and we got geek news.